Which second-year QB makes the biggest jump?
It's the one that you didn't put on your screen. It's Trey Lance, and here's why. Number one, Trey Lance has Kyle Shanahan as his offensive coordinator. We all know that Kyle Shanahan is a brilliant offensive mind. Well, last year, when like it all mattered, week 17, you got to win to get in. Trey leads his team to a victory against the Houston Texans. If the 49ers don't win that game, number one, they don't make the playoffs. But more importantly, we saw poise and we saw growth in Trey Lance. Trey Lance started a few games last year. We saw growth week in and week out, even though those games were separated. And then lastly, you look at the athletic ability, the ability to win. His last full year as a starter, he was undefeated, 16-0, a national champion, 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then you get Kyle Shanahan's mold all over him. Kyle Shanahan understands that his future is inextricably tied to Trey Lance's success. And so you add the 6'4", 220 athletic ability, you have the ability to throw the ball down the field, and the fact that when he gets in the game, he's going to be great based off what he did in college and who his offensive coordinator is. I think Trey Lance is the answer to this question.
Okay, that's a good answer. It's not the right answer, but it's a good answer from you from that standpoint. As far as I'm concerned, I think the second-year quarterback that's going to make the biggest jump is Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville because of these two words, Doug Peterson. We saw what Doug Peterson did. He won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. That's one of the greatest achievements we've seen in a long time. That you're able to take a backup quarterback after Carson Wentz tore his ACL. He was going to be the MVP of the league from that standpoint, and they win a Super Bowl, and you beat Tom Brady in that Super Bowl 51-43. Here's three other words. No Urban Meyer. And that's the best thing that could happen for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville because with no help last year.
Anywhere, frankly.
Well, anywhere because bad coach and at times a bad guy when it comes to Urban Meyer. There's no doubt about that in my opinion. And he can say whatever he wants. We got receipts on Urban Meyer from that standpoint. But here's the receipt I have on Trevor Lawrence. 3,641 yards last year, 12 touchdowns with no help. And now they've added Zay Jones in the offseason. They've also had a chance to bring in Evan Ingram, who I think is going to have a renaissance to the former Giants tight end, and having Doug Peterson. But this young man handled all that nonsense with so much class and dignity that became his organization. With all that fire going around him, he wasn't trying to put out fires. He said, we got to manage this, but we're going to be better going forward. And now you bring a Doug Peterson and more help with Trevor Lawrence. We're going to see the Trevor Lawrence that I believe we were going to see the minute he was drafted out of Clemson. No disrespect to Sam Acho. I love his pick with Trey Lance, especially because of his athletic ability. But because Trevor Lawrence in a better situation, that was a backhanded slap. I admit that. But in terms of Trevor Lawrence dealing with on and off and being better, that's right. Yeah. On and off, I think he's going to make the biggest jump of a second-year quarterback.
He basically has a rookie season this year. I think there's two quarterbacks in this class that fall into that category. It's Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville and Justin Fields in Chicago. And for all the reasons that Freddie had mentioned, improved offensive line, improved receiving core, those are all the things that are going to help Trevor Lawrence make this jump in year two. Those same things can be said about Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. Laken Tomlinson, it's going to become his best friend up front and protect him. Think about all the receivers that they brought in this offseason. You know, the Garrett Wilson was their first was their first guy they brought in the draft. Before that, Sauce Gardner. I mean, think about the defensive additions that they made. Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, like on the other side of the ball, that helps a quarterback. But he's with Mike LaFleur again. He's not in a brand new system like some of these other quarterbacks are dealing with. I think that we say this a lot of years about the New York Jets. The expectations, given what they did, the haul that they got in the draft, which was a very good one. Breece Hall was one of my favorite picks, too. So he has a running game that always helps quarterbacks. Everything they did from that standpoint and in free agency, this roster looks a lot better than it did a year ago. We know they've been in a rebuild. I know it takes time. But I'm confident that Zach Wilson's going to be in a better spot. There's a reason that he was a second quarterback taken in that draft class. That potential's there, the ceiling's there. He's given everything this year to actually be able to get closer to reaching that ceiling and showing, you know, what his skill set actually is at the NFL level. Because I feel like there was so much untapped potential with him last year that we knew. Get a few more pieces around him and he's going to be in a good spot.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.